Okay. How can the Earth assist with our ascension? This is the question I'm going to ask in today's channel. How can the Earth assist with our ascension? Occasionally I get sort of flashes of concepts which then turn into questions which I channel on, and I think it's an intentional mechanism where they give me an inspiration, then I ask that through a question. So yesterday I had this flash that the Earth right now is actually offering something to us for us to partake in, which has the functionality of prepping us for our ascension. And so I just want to sort of get more information on that. How does it work? What is it? And so on. Okay, so let's go. How can the Earth assist with our ascension? Let's see what we got. Greetings and thank you for the question. How can the Earth assist with your ascension? And by your ascension, we take that to mean humanity's ascension. Let us start by saying that there is a very unusual condition in the paradigm of your planet and your species. For the very first time in the history of existence, there is going to be a simultaneous coalescence of the ascension of a planet and the ascension of its sentient species. As we have discussed many times before, there is this fractal quality to the universe where there is nested consciousness. Everything nested within the one, and then incrementally things nested within something else to infinitum. And so in this structure there is consciousness nested within the Earth being, within the Earth consciousness, and that nested consciousness is the humanity being, and within the humanity being are you, the individuals. So this is also synonymous with saying that you are the Earth being. You are an aspect or a perspective of the Earth being. And so as the Earth being ascends, for its ascension to be complete, then the aspects of itself must also ascend. So then, when the species of the human beings unified together as a single being, the humanity being, completes its ascension, in synchronization with the ascension of the planet, then the planet, the Earth being, its ascension will be complete. The Earth being understands this. The Earth being does not see you as being separate from itself. Instead, the Earth being perceives humanity as an aspect of itself. And so it does not come at this from the perspective that I must get these measly humans to ascend also so that I can ascend, because they are holding me back. It is not like this at all. Instead, the humanity being integrated into and part of the humanity being, the earth being, is included in the self-definition of the earth being. When the earth being considers I am, included in this is the humanity being. And so its desire is to ascend in totality, and that means that all aspects of itself make the transition and ascend. This is one of the fundamental differences between a group being and a being which is considered more of a single finite being. So, you, the individual human, you are a being which could be considered to be an individual finite being. You are the crucible for infinite consciousness, just as all beings are. So you are the crucible for the individual consciousnesses of your cells, and each of those cells are the crucible for the individual consciousnesses of the atoms, and each atom is the crucible for the individual consciousnesses of the subatomic particles. And the subatomic particles are divisible infinitum. So, even the single atom within your body is the crucible for infinite consciousnesses. And your planet is the crucible for your consciousness and the consciousnesses of all humans as the humanity being, and the consciousnesses of all of the life forms. But what is different? Even though it could be said that you, the individual human, are a group being, because yes, you are, as we have just described, you are the crucible for so many individual consciousnesses. So in a sense, you are the group being, just as the earth is. But the fundamental difference is the individual consciousnesses contained within you are not yet sentient. And so they operate within a paradigm which is driven by purpose without choice. They follow the cadence of you, the energetic signature you emanate into the body, coordinates each of these individual consciousnesses that reside within you so that they operate based entirely on purpose. Purpose, which is the cadence of your vibratory signature. There is no will as such, only purposeful obedience. So, there is no sentience. However, the group being, such as the earth, is a crucible, a conglomeration, an aggregation of many consciousnesses, just as you are, because this is the fractal quality of the universe, of existence. However, what is different is that the consciousnesses contained within the crucible of the earth being, nested in the earth being, include consciousnesses which are sentient and operate on the basis of free will. And so they are not obediently driven by purpose. They have the option of choice based on the outcome of their free will mechanism. And so, for you, the individual, when you go through the process of awakening and ascension, all aspects of you, which includes the individual consciousnesses of yourselves, nested in your consciousness, will be swept up in the obedient purposefulness which is inherent in the vibratory signature that you emanate. For the larger group being that has contained within it individual sentience cannot rely on this paradigm where there is no free will, but instead only obedient purposefulness, because there is no sentience. The sentience that exists within itself is subject to the choice deriving from free will. And so it is more of a act of juggling the many parts to create a cohesiveness and a unification where each of the sentient parts have become so awoken to their unity that when operating on their free will, it is done in a cooperative way such that the free will of the individual parts, of each aspect of the sentience, is manifested as if being purposeful obedience. Because the free will choice in the awakened sentience is harmonized with the purpose of the larger entity, of the group being in which the smaller parts are contained. And so, this coordination of the many parts into the single purpose requires a harmonization which can be and is being energetically accentuated right now on this planet, the earth being itself, as if conducting an orchestra, and you are, and all humans are, a musician within the orchestra, and the earth being is conducting its symphony. It is offering you a cadence, a rhythm, a harmony for you to harmonize with, such that you become in synchronization with this ascending cadence of the earth. And you become aligned with its purpose, which is your purpose, because you are an aspect of the earth being. It could be said that you are the earth's sentience. The earth being, when it is awakened and has become matured and sophisticated in the expression of itself, will have on its surface aspects of itself which are fully awoken to the realization that they are it, that they are the earth. And then, with this awoken expression of itself, walking the surface of itself, fully realize that it is the earth, the humanity being is an aspect of the earth, then this humanity being will behave in a way which is entirely cooperative and conducive to maintaining the earth in a beautiful, pristine, blessed state. Because the humanity being will comprehend that to love the earth, to protect the earth, to cherish the earth, is to do all of those to itself, because it is, in a sense, the same being. This is where the earth is heading, in the Ascension. It is this awakening of itself to a greater vision, but also an awakening within itself of the many increments, realizing that they are themselves, the individual, but they are also the earth. And the earth will become awakened through the individual humans. And then there will be this expression of sentience of the earth through the humanity being, through the individual humans which comprise the humanity being. And so, from this perspective, you can see that there is a very comprehensive integration of the Ascension event of the earth and of the human beings, which together are the humanity being. So to ensure that this is achieved successfully, the earth being at this time is offering, and always has, but it is offering an energetic nourishment, a harmonization, a calling to integrate you, the individual, into itself, the earth being, such that you realize that you are the earth, that you are nature, no less than the trees, the birds, the flowers, the clouds in the sky. You are nature. And this integration into the earth, such that your definition is its self-definition. Its self-definition is your self-definition, because you are the same being. And offered to you is this quickening. It is an increasing frequency of energy which is being offered. The earth, being a loving, nurturing entity, has always offered to all aspects of itself, all living organisms on its surface and within, an energetic nourishment, so that all may prosper in peace and joy and with a sense of non-attachment to survival, because survival is a birthright, and when survival discontinues, it is part of the divine mechanism of the expression of the earth of itself. And so it is with an open, vulnerable joy that all aspects of nature exist by the birthright of being brought into existence on the earth being, and participating in this energy, this nourishment offered, such that there is this peaceful existence without the suffering of struggle. We don't mean to imply that there are not the conditions in which survival is difficult, but what is not implied through difficulty in surviving is suffering, because suffering is the resistance to what is so. But as an aspect of the earth being, the energetic rhythm, the cadence, the hum of the earth is that you can exist in whatever condition you find yourself in without the necessity for suffering, because it is what it is, and the earth exists to nourish you so that it can experience itself through the perspective which is you. And when you are recycled back into the earth, it is not loss, it just is. And so there is a ancient peacefulness. As the ascension of the earth approaches, the quality of this vibration, although still eternal in nature, is beginning to have a transformative effect. And its vibration is increasing now that the earth has come into an era of rapid elevation, rapid expansion in the concept and understanding of self, in the self-realization. And this boon in self-understanding, self-realization, expansion, awareness of the energetic self, which the earth is experiencing, has changed this quality of energetic nourishment it offers to you to be one not of only peaceful survival, but also of expansion, of shedding the shell, emerging from the chrysalis, so that you also blossom into the new paradigm which lay ahead. The earth is ripened and approaches its blooming, the blossoming earth, the new paradigm. And you shall be part of this blossoming. And the energy which is offered by the earth at this time is conducive to this blossoming, this quickening, which is beginning to peel back the petals to expose beneath the new understanding of self, the birthing of the highest self being into the physical experience, no longer occluded by the false conceptualization of self, where you have believed yourself to be the mind, the body, the personality, the thing that you see in the mirror, the physical vehicle. And this misconceptualization, this belief that you are this which you are not, has been the occlusion, has been the shell of your chrysalis, or the skin of the bud, holding you occluded and opaque and confused about who you are. But now, as this time approaches and the earth senses this change is coming and prepares itself, and therefore you, because you are it, the skin of the bud is beginning to peel back, and eventually the petals will fold completely into an open, vulnerable position, and will be revealed, for the earth will be its expanded vision of self, and for you it will be the revelation that you are not the physical vehicle, but you are instead the energetic which resides within the physical vehicle. Everything is nested within the one. And so, while you are the one, and the humanity being is the one, and the earth being is the one, and the solar system being is the one, so in a sense, you are many beings simultaneously. And all of these beings that are in this lineage of nesting to ultimately being the one, they also are, to a degree, involved in this ascension. It is also, from a perspective, their ascension. And so the next increment in this nesting is the solar system being. The earth being is nested in the consciousness of the sun, as are all of the planets. So the sun is the solar system being, in the same way that you are the earth being. The earth being is the solar system being. And so the solar system being is also a participant in this ascension event. And when the time comes, it shall also play its part, such that the earth ascends, such that the humanity being ascends, because this is part also of its ascension, the solar system being's ascension. So just as the earth being is offering to you this energetic nourishment, which is conducive to aligning you in a coordinated purpose, so you are included in the ascension of the earth, being an aspect of the earth. The sun also is offering a energetic nourishment to all of itself. All aspects of the solar system being is being offered an energetic nourishment in the same way. So, bombarding the Earth and all other planets is a quickening, an increasing vibratory quality coming from the sun. And it is part of the facilitation of the Earth's quickening to offer you the energetic nourishment to ascend. It is all comprehensively integrated. It is all ultimately the one being, the one. And so everything is integrated into everything else. It is all an infinitum of aspects of the same thing, the same being, the one. So, for you, the individual, you are a being of free will. If you decide that you wish to be included in the ascension of the individual human beings into its awakening, that it is the humanity being, the fifth dimensional humanity being, which is an aspect of the earth being, which is an aspect of the solar system being. If you choose to be included in this ascension, because you are the being of free will, it is not purposeful obedience, because you are a sentient being. It is your choice. If you choose that you wish to be part of this, to not be left behind, but instead to be harvested into the golden age which lay ahead, so that you may experience the self within the new human paradigm, where you shall be the individual, but also you shall be the group being. You shall be awakened in realization that you are part of this unified organism, which is the humanity being. And when you are awakened, ascended, to be integrated into this realization that you are the humanity being, you are a aspect, a perspective of the humanity being, then you will have as your capacities not just the capacities of the individual, the single flame, the single small flame, which has effectiveness, but effectiveness which is commensurate with its apparent limitation in dimension, in finite representation of existence. You will be part of the larger flame, the flame which is comprised of the many individual flames coming together to form the single flame. And so when you express your humanity, you will not be expressing what is available to you as only the individual, which is not part of anything else, but you will be able to express your humanity by drawing on the humanity being. You will have access to the sum of the parts. So when you express your creativity, you will not be expressing the creativity of you, the individual. You will be expressing the creative power of the humanity being. The humanity being will be expressing itself through you. And so, you will be, in comparison to what it means to be an earth human now, profound. Profound in your creativity. Profound in your wisdom. Profound in your love. Profound in your capacity to understand science, physicality, chemistry, physics, and so on. Because you will be the group being, expressing itself through the perspective which is you. You will become vast. And the planet of Earth will be covered by earth humans, those that have been harvested into this ascension and have awoken as the humanity being. It will be a time of explosive growth in culture and science and self-understanding and wisdom and extrasensory capacities and so on. Because this idea which we repeat, that you and every other individuation of the humanity being will be expressing and demonstrating capacities which are not originating only from this individuation, this small, apparent, finite being, but instead will be expressing all of these capacities of the awoken humanity being, the fifth dimensional conglomeration, aggregation of all into the one. So culture, science, social structure, economics, medicine, everything will explosively transform to be reflective of the divine wisdom which arises when many awoken come together as the one. And if it is your desire to be a participant in this, to be part of this, to ascend, so that you are now the ascended human that has access to this new prodigiousness, then you can begin now to ensure that you are included in this harvest. Because not all of humanity will be harvested into the ascension. Only those that are energetically at a place where the harvest will gather them up. This harvest and this condition that there are some that shall be harvested and some that shall be not is not on the basis of righteousness or virtue, or if you have been a good person, or if you have been on Santa's nice list. It is not in this way. As you become more awakened and more aware of your extra dimensionality, such that you are no longer just the 3D being, believing that you are what you can see in the mirror, what you can hear and think, and nothing else. This extra dimensionality, this fifth dimensionality, this realizing that you are more than that which can be seen in the mirror. This is the birthing of awareness of your consciousness into fifth dimensionality. Right now you are a blending of a third and fifth dimensional being. And we say third and fifth without mentioning fourth, because fourth is the dimension of time. This is just the way that it has been labelled on your planet. So you are the three-dimensional being that is transitioning into becoming the fifth dimensional being, and at this time you are both. You have awareness that you have this three-dimensionality, but you also have this growing awareness that you are more than what you see in the mirror, that you are infinite, that there is something else. And this is the growing awareness of your fifth dimensionality. And when your awareness of your fifth dimensionality is sufficient, then when the harvest occurs, you will not be disintegrated out of physicality such that you return to the light, waiting your next incarnation cycle, meaning that you die in the traditional way and go back to non-physicality, waiting to be incarnated again as whatever choice you make for the next life that you live. Instead of that occurring, when the harvest occurs, because your fifth dimensional awareness is sufficient, you have an anchoring in the fifth dimension. You have enough of a conscious focus in the fifth dimension that when your third dimensionality is disintegrated, is made no more, instead of being recycled back into non-physicality or waiting your next incarnation cycle, you will transition into a fifth dimensional existence. You will continue to have a physical life, yet it will be fifth dimensional. You will not die in a sense, but in a sense that you will die, because your physical 3D body will perish, but you will continue to exist in the template body, in the energetic body, which will, in the fifth dimension, still have the quality of being a physical body. So, this is why it is called the harvest. Because if you have enough fifth dimensional awareness, enough of your conscious focus is in fifth dimensionality, you identify not just as this, the physical vehicle, but you identify also as something more. If your identification in the something more is sufficient, then when the harvest occurs and the three-dimensionality is disintegrated, you will continue to have a life in fifth dimensionality. You will continue to be a being having a physical experience in a fifth dimensional context. And this will be the harvest. So it is not you are being chosen on the basis of who you have been, but it is literally a metaphysics. It is the physics of it that will make it so. Now, the reason that on your planet it is considered to be, if you are a good person, then you shall be collected in the rapture from the Christian understanding. The reason that this idea that you will, if you are a good person, that this will occur, is because when you become more fifth dimensional in nature, this is a movement away from the belief that you are the finite being which is individuated from everything else, that you are separate from everything else. And so your focus tends to be on the self, because there is no point, to a degree, to be focused on those who are not you, because they are separate from you, and therefore your focus on them serves no purpose. There is no point in that. I must survive. I must be nourished. I must have all that is required for me to be content, prosperous, and so on. This is the dense three-dimensional understanding. As you become more aware and conscious of your fifth dimensionality, there is this realization that you are borderless, and therefore, through the following of this logic, so will all others. So if all others are borderless, and you are borderless, meaning you are infinite, they are infinite, then there is this coalescence. Because how can two things be infinite in the same space unless they are the same thing? And then the way that you behave, even though this may be a subconscious awareness, the manifestation of this in the individual is that they are a being of greater love, and in particular, a being of greater empathy. Now what occurs in the lives of others is meaningful to them. Now they wish to see others prosper, and be joyful in a way that brings them together with them. And now it's less about service to self and more about service to others, because there is this birthing understanding that you are the others and they are you. And so in a sense it is still service to self, but the self is no longer just defined by this single thing you see in the mirror. The self now is inclusive of all aspects of the same thing. The self is now the humanity being. And so this is why the idea of the rapture is those who are good exists, because consequential to being of the energetic awareness and fifth dimensional conscious focus is to be a being that is empathic, that is loving, that is serving to all. So it's not because they are loving and empathic that they will be harvested. They will be harvested because they have enough of their conscious focus in the fifth dimension. That's why it will occur. So it won't be a judgment on how good they are as a person, but it will literally be on the basis of the physics of it. If they have enough vibratory presence in the fifth dimension, then they shall be anchored into it and transition across when three-dimensionality is disintegrated. This is why it will occur. But those who have this quality also, consequentially, have the quality of being loving and empathic and caring and beautiful and so on. So if you wish to be included in this harvest, then listen for the earth being, because she wants so much to incorporate you into herself, because she is the being of service to others. She wishes to serve herself, but her definition of self is not that she is just the rock on which all these organisms irritatingly exist. Her self-definition, her idea of self, is the entire biosphere, is every living organism on the surface and within. These are all her. And she wishes to ascend. And as she is the group being, with the self-identity which includes all aspects of existence, of living life within her, including you, her energetic quality she offers right now is this energy which is going to prep and facilitate you to be caught up in this ascension, so that you become more aware of your fifth dimensionality enough such that when the harvest occurs, you transition from 3D to 5D. This is her desire. This is her purpose. And she is calling to you to make it also your willful purpose. She does not expect obedience. She expects you to do what it is that you wish to do, because she loves herself enough, including all aspects, which includes you, that she will allow you to choose your own path, knowing that ultimately, in the culmination of all existence, The one shall eventually be self-realized to totality, meaning that no aspect of itself is left unrealized. And so if you are not included in the harvest to be ascended, the earth being does not have fear for you, because the earth being understands that there is only one bullseye, and that bullseye is to be fully realized as the one. And so if you are not included in this harvest which will occur on the earth, you shall be harvested in some other way, in some other place, in some other time, to eventually also arrive at the bullseye. So, to utilize what she is offering, the most powerful way you can do it is to go into nature and spend time in loving appreciation of nature. Feel your feet in the sand, on the grass, in the mud. Remove your shoes and literally, physically integrate into the earth. Push your feet into the sand, push your feet into the grass, into the mud, such that you feel that you are the single being, that you are growing from the earth. And then in a state of open vulnerability, surrender and allow the earth to nourish you, to enrich you. Allow her to still your mind, and so you are integrated physically and also incorporated energetically into the loving, ascending, energetic rhythm of the earth. And once you hear her sweet song, and you feel this returning home, and the sense that I am nature. I am not separate from the earth. I am the earth. I am integrated into the larger being which I am an aspect of. When you leave nature, maintain this perspective, maintain this understanding, and be overwhelmed by the benevolence and the generosity and the empathic love of the earth being. And then express the earth being through your vehicle, in your life. Treat all others and all situations with the same benevolent generosity, loving empathy. Be expressive of the earth through the self. Be the incorporated being. So yes, you are the individual, but you also are a perspective of this larger being, which is ascending and offering you the opportunity to ascend with it, because it loves you. And then through your offering of benevolent generosity, loving empathy into your own environment, into those other people, those other aspects of the being which you are, the humanity being, that they also shall be, to a degree, incorporated into this energy of the earth through the proxy of you. And they shall also have the opportunity to begin their ascent, to be reflective of this quality of the earth, which you are expressing to them. And they will feel, if they are open, the loving resonance and the rightfulness of it. And they will be, to a degree, conscious or unconscious, affected in their vibratory quality. And so they shall, in a different way, express themselves, so that they will be a continuation of this rhythm which you have drawn from the earth. But because it is a very natural rhythm, it is natural in a very literal sense. It is the way of nature. And those that they influence will then also influence others, and so on, and so on, and so on. And so it will be a cascade of change, of coming together, of harmonizing with the earth, of being awakened to what is the quality of the earth, and expressed through the self as the individual quality as well. And then you shall find yourself at the center of the pond, the originator of the ripples, which now are rippling out far beyond where you have lost sight of the influence that you've had. It is now rippled so far past those that you are connected to, that you understand, that you know, into parts of the community and country and planet that you are not even aware of. This is how powerful your influence can be if you choose to be willingly purposeful in gathering humanity up into this ascension, so that you are harvested, and all those that you care and love about are harvested, and all those that you do not even have awareness of are harvested. So, you can intensify this experience even greater when you are incorporated into the earth. You integrate literally into it by pushing your feet into the grass, the sand, the mud, the water. Also, be a recipient of the transformative energetic quality coming from the solar system being, originating from its central star. It is all conducive to the same outcome, which is the ascension of the greater being. The greater being ultimately is the one. Become a being of love, because this is what you are, as is the earth, as is the solar system being, as is the galaxy being, as is ultimately the earth, the one. There is so much being offered to you. There is so much love. There is so much benevolence. There is so much generosity. It is overwhelming. Increasingly so as your awareness of it expands. You are inundated 24/7 with all of these qualities originating from this intense love for you and desire that you are born into love, which is increasingly experienced as this intense love which is offered to you as a energetic bombardment. Become aware more and more to enjoy this birthright, because it is not just about ascending as if this is an achievement, but it is about being a greater realized receptacle and experience of the joyous love which is available to you, such that every single moment, every single now that you are in is densely enriched with this quality that is yours by birthright. So, to begin, go to nature and allow the earth being to elevate you on the platform of this generous benevolence, this loving empathy it has for you, so that you become integrated, incorporated into the earth being, to facilitate your birthing into the new human paradigm, where you will be the humanity being, ascended and realized it is the earth being. A golden time of bliss and love. We love you and we thank you for your interest and for listening and for being increasingly conscious of what is occurring and your apparent willfulness to be included